Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been such a pleasure to see so many familiar faces. We'll talk a little bit about cybersecurity. I don't usually go around holding a Starlink antenna. I do that only on the weekends when I go out. But we'll talk a little bit about what is coming in the shipping world and why cybersecurity is now changing the world. Thank you also for the introduction. My name is Manos Manoli. I am the Chief Information Security Officer for Marlow Navigation. I'm also the chairman of the digitalization team of the Cyprus Shipping Chambers, where it's a very good opportunity for everyone in the shipping industry, if they want to talk or share ideas and knowledge about cybersecurity, to join us in the meetings of the CSC. So we'll talk a little bit about security. We'll talk a little bit about what is going on in the world and why is everything changing in the next years or months. So looking at the time where we had somewhere in 2021, 2022, and 2023, if we collect all the data of all these 3 years, to be very honest and say the things with their names, those 3 years regarding cybersecurity has been devastated for the shipping industry. On 2023, it has been recorded that a successful cyber attack every 39 seconds have been deployed to the whole world, and that was involving thousands and thousands of euros, making cybersecurity and cyber criminality a whole industry. If we look at the incidents, and those are not my slides, those are not my words, but if you actually make a small search and have a look of how the shipping was reacting to those incidents and those cybersecurity gaps, you will understand that it didn't really had everyone prepared, because the cyber criminals became very, very dynamic. They start changing the cyber criminality from an IT thing into a reverse psychology thing. In every single case of cyber criminality, there was a human factor involved. And if you look at it in a psychology way, you will understand that humans have one very serious flaw. I can program firewalls, I can configure intrusion prevention systems, I can work with AI systems in order to create network analysis to prevent things from happening, but IT people, we cannot program humans. And the flaw that I have mentioned is called trust. So in Marlow, we have a zero trust, let's say, schema, that we treat our outside network the same way that we treat our inside network. So everything is scanned with network analysis. I promise to say AI only 4 times in my presentation. I promise not to say 100 times. So yes, AI tools to the IT people, they are tools that use intelligence in order to create patterns and analyze the behavior of users so they can stop an internal attack or an internal threat. So people, if you talk to people, they may start thinking about AI like robots walking in the street and shooting humans. Others will think of AI like ChatGPT. For the IT people and for the technical people are actually tools that they analyze the behavior of the analysis and stop threats that are changing and evolving so fast. So going back to my words about this becoming a new industry, 3 million every year from the shipping industry are being spent to pay the attackers or the ransom people who actually blackmail shipping companies. And these are only the reported incidents. You know, they are somewhere 50%, because the other 50% they are not reporting an incident, fearing of losing their reputation. So it is quite an industry, and by paying the bad guys, means only one thing. They will post the details on the dark web, and if you want to browse the dark web and get these details, you can contact me. I can show you how it's so easy. You can actually download onion ring browsing and bam, that's it. You're in the dark web. So by paying these guys, they create a post that you have been a very good customer, that this attack was successful, and then you can leave them another 6 months and we can attack them again, or you can try, therefore they are paying. So you understand the consequences by not doing the homework or have a big risk appetite. How does that create a recurring incident to your organization? Actually, cyber criminality is now categorized as #1 reason for business continuity obstruction to the shipping industry. Before, it was the geopolitical situation, it was piracy, it was all other reasons. Cybersecurity criminality is now #1 obstruction for shipping companies. Those are not my slides. You can Google them and see them, where a lot of people have talked about the incidents of the past, of the last 2 years. And some of them were really not sophisticated. Some of them were very sophisticated. The reason is that it becomes so intellectual now that it does not require only an IT person to stop that. In Marlow, we do a security awareness course for the employees, once a year, mandatory for all. And every year there is a lot of ingredients that are getting into this mandatory security awareness course so that people understand how the cybercriminality industry is changing so rapidly. I remember when I asked, for example, in the first sessions, by the way, we were doing this from 2005. So you understand how many security awareness course an employee with 20 years in Marlow has been into. So a lot of exercises as well. So I remember one of them, we asked them to change. We sent a message from the director, a fake message, of course, asking them to go into a conference room where you could fit only 10 people. And there was 75. So we do all these exercises. We even do a contamination of a system so they can see that live. I wanted to do that, but I'm running out of time. So in the break, in the lunch break, I brought a laptop with me and I have the latest ransomware. We can plug it in on the laptop and show you live. Nobody will do that. Nobody will have the guts to do that. But since we have work and since we have actually created some very good resilience in the lunch break or in the break, I can show you what a ransomware software will do to your laptop. Yeah? Sorry for not finding this in English. The reason why I brought this in Greek, because this is Greek web pages, and the next one or two slides they are in Greek. The reason why I put them is because they are from newspaper. So people will think that, oh, Manos is coming every time, scaring us, and that maybe is a little bit of over-exaggerating, but you can read these from newspapers. You go to Philadelpheros, go to, I don't know, Sigma Live, go to Reporter and type cybercriminality and Cyprus. And you will see all the incidents that the shipping industry has been hit the last 3 years. So when you go outside of this room, probably you will start thinking that this thing is live and exists. So unfortunately, shipping now has created its own era in the incidents where it's called shipping. Shipping was before in a category called transportation. But now that is changing, and shipping is one of the third industries heavily being hit by cyber criminality. Ships. There is a miracle happening the next year, And I'm telling you that the ships will never be the same every year that goes now. I think and I predict basically that we will jump 25 years ahead in the next 5 years. And the reason is this little thing here, and I will explain you now. The broadband data now installed on ships, going from 8 megabits to hundreds of megabits. We have been using this antenna, testing that antenna to any situation you can think of. The ships will become tomorrow, I mean maybe in the afternoon, no difference to an office. If you have 100 megabits on a vessel, on demand, that's not anymore an isolated, restricted communication place. In Marlow, we have also joined a team of KIOS. KIOS is the experimental and educational part of the Cyprus University, where now they saw this opportunity to create hundreds and thousands of sensors on board ships, taking from the industry that does not belong to shipping and install it on ships. But this is later on. So ships will receive the blessing of high communication, but also the curse of being attacked very heavily because they will become broadband internet spots. What else did we see? Remember when I talk about human reverse psychology and that every attack involves usually an internal employee, which unconditional or unintentional contributes to the cyber incident? The bad guys are somehow giving up on companies like us. If you think that we spend thousands and thousands and thousands of euros on cybersecurity products, on education, on training, on awareness, intrusion preventions, EDRs, XDRs, you name it, they somehow start giving up on us, attacking us. And what are they doing? We have 2 incidents. I wouldn't like to mention names here, but you can Google it. We have 2 incidents where 2 big organizations that write software for the shipping industry have been compromised because the attackers gave up attacking the big companies. They have attacked the 2 developing companies. They have changed the code of the software, and what did they do next? They disappear very quietly. They try to make this as discreet as possible, so when the software development company deploy that software on the vessels, 1,000 vessels actually open a door to them to get all the data they needed. If you think of how challenging the geopolitical situation is now around the globe, if you're not aware, just watch the news. Imagine a situation now where you're a captain maybe on a gas and oil industry, and then your home address with your kid is now posted in the dark web. So you can understand now how critical is to protect that data of the seafarers, to protect their license, their documents, their positions, and all that stuff. So ships and crewing or ship management software are the new trend for the cyber criminals. Now in Marlow, because we have created such a strong resilience, we are actually now thinking of how we can protect our partners, our customers, from other people pretending to be us. Because if we have a hit on a customer or a partner, and he makes the payment that had to make to us to someone else pretending to be Marlow, that will be an indirect hit to us. Starlink. Just love them. We have actually tried everything on them. And we have installed checkpoint firewalls, we have installed intrusion preventions, we have installed firewall XYZ. That thing takes it to another era. The vessel is an office, as I said before. You can install anything you want to protect your network, because before we are fearing to install devices because we thought that we would pay a lot of money on configuring, a lot of money on the traffic that was costing thousands and thousands. Now with these systems, you can actually update your mission-critical devices on board without using USBs. Remember, the biggest and most painful attack in the industry was made out of a USB from a ship. Let's don't mention names. So all the critical devices, charts, ECTs, can be configured on a firewall and very secure via VPN or via IPsec being updated. All these seafarers on board will be able to use chats, video, Teams. Actually, our first antenna in Marlow, our first Starlink antenna, which I hope to get my hands back somewhere in the future, because it has serial number 003, and that would be a very collective item in the future. So it was sent to Odessa, Ukraine, with 120 meters of cable. We didn't want the antenna to be on top of the building, of course, because it transmits. Whatever it transmits can become a target. So that has been used primarily for the uninterrupted internet of our office in Odessa. Marlow Navigation Cyprus also has a backup and redundancy on Starlink accounts. Our vessels now are actually equipped with Starlink antennas, and Starlink will be, I think, Elon has said that he has sold 2 million pieces up to now on 2023. 10 months in 2023, 2 million antennas being sold. Not all of them to the shipping industry, of course, but can you see, okay, the revenue will be tremendous, of course, for Mr. Elon, will make him richer and richer, but I raise my hand and I say, I predict that our internet from our homes in the next 2 years will not come through wires. I somehow think that our internet will come from the space in the next years. Our internet to your phone will come from space. On your telephone will come from space. That's one of my predictions. I promise not to talk about AI, but also my other prediction is that in the next 3 years we'll have no passwords. Passwords will not exist. There was a very good slide about how easily can passwords detected. I was in Tel Aviv back 2 years ago, where I actually assisted the AI team on Lenovo of feedback about the AI passwordless telephone, where you actually click on a button on your phone, open an application of a bank, and then by the way holding your phone, the inclinometer and the seconds that you have touched the button of the icon can predict that is you with accuracy 99.9999. So passwords will be something in the past. I would dare to say that passports and IDs will be something in the past. Probably banks will be something in the past. So with the way we conceive banks, I mean, who has been in the bank the last 6 months? There will be something like little offices on big towers. So moving on, the way of attacking companies and organizations, the trend is increasingly changed. Before, we could talk about brute force attack and denial of service attack. Has anyone seen a denial of service attack on his firewall? Please raise your hand if anyone has seen a denial of service. 1, 2. A denial of service is a very brute force attack that happens and kills your lines and kills your internet connection. That was the primary way of attacking companies before. Now this is just noise. So if you're not educating yourself, if you don't understand that that methodology is changing so rapidly, and a denial of service attack, it's only to create noise and keep your IT busy with it, where you try to do social engineering somewhere else, then you understand that you have no chance. Malware, I remember the first one, it could actually be transmitted by USBs or let's say by mail. We have done everything. We closed all the USBs. We created sandbox technology for the mail to stop that. You know what it does, the latest malware? First of all, it fragments itself. It fragments itself and it bends itself on a PDF. You click on a PDF, what happens? Nothing. Because it breaks the malicious code into so many pieces and hides in the PDF, it has no signature. That means cannot be identified. So when you open it, there's a small routine that defracts the code, and then it creates the malicious code on your PC. That's why it's too late for your antivirus to find out. Then what happens? It stays there and waits for an administrator login. It does nothing, undetectable. So when an administrator logs in on that infected PC, it uses the $sign of the administrator to have access to your entire network, spreading itself everywhere. Then what it does? Again, nothing. No encryption is starting. Why? It's now starting checking for duplicate files. If you open, let's say, a payroll.xls, it's trying to find in the network where that XLS document is stored as a duplicate file. Anyone has an idea why it's doing that? Backups. Okay? It tries to find out where your backups is before it does anything else. And then when it sends low network activity, it starts encrypting your backup as a first reaction. And then it starts on your PCs. You go in the morning and there's nothing. You lost your backups, online backups, you lost last night backups, and you lost also the entire network. So how do you defend on that? Does an IT group has all that knowledge to defend on things like that? What is the too late if you get a ransomware? 90 minutes, 90 minutes. If you get a ransomware, 90 minutes is the most time you can use before everything is too late. And my question is how many people can raise their hand and say, yes, I know when a ransom is on my systems with a 5 minutes margin at 3 o'clock on a Sunday morning where there's no one in the office. I'm sure there's a lot of people that will have a presentation later and they will come with a reply. So I will not mention the reply because there are services and there is tools that can do that for you. Okay? So closing down, say that if you look at on the left side, there was who was attacking before. So in the beginning was number one, most attacks was by script individuals, single wolves, attackers that were alone, long hair in a basement doing their things. And then it was cybercrime groups. And now this is how the pattern is changing. There's no single wolves anymore. People are attacking companies with a much bigger intention. The number one attacker now, it's not single people, it's groups. The number two is cybercrime organizations with 35, 45, 50 people attacking. Can I order a denial of service from the dark web? Sure. I will point the IP, $150. It can happen for 30 minutes on your network. And then government groups. That was not in the list. It was the last thing in the list. But governments attacking other governments or other organizations, it's now another trend. Do you know what ENISA is? ENISA is the European organization body for reporting a cybersecurity criminality or incident in a mission-critical infrastructure of a country. If you talk to the Cyprus shipping chambers, to the secretarial staff, they will tell you all about it. Did we had a mission-critical incidents in our shipping industry in Cyprus? Not allowed to say anything about that. Maybe. Did we report to ENISA? Not allowed to say. ENISA has created rules that you need to report whatever it happens to ports, to airports, And now, because of all this chaos, ENISA will give new requirements and specifications for shipping companies in January, changing the rules that you don't need, not only the ports and the airports need to report, but the shipping companies will also have prerequisites for dealing with critical mission country infrastructure. So you need to be monitoring these and get informed, because a lot of things will change by January for shipping companies. That's my last slide. I know I talk too much sometimes and I get carried away. I promise not to say yay. Oh, I wanted to show you this. We play with that on the Starlink. That is an AI camera from Ubiquiti. Okay, when I talk about our seafarer people about installing cameras on board, they say, oh, they're slow, it's very difficult. This AI camera, when you install it on board, you can program it to do anything you want. For example, when there is an area where you need to wear a helmet, it will only start recording when it sees people without helmets on their head in that area. It will only, for example, start recording when it sees people that it doesn't recognize their face. So you can see where vessels are going. My last slide. So what we're saying that if you haven't done your homework, that means that you're risking a risk attitude. So if you haven't done an impact analysis of your services, if you don't know what is mission critical as a service or as an application, if you haven't backed up everything in a way that it can be secure, immutable backups, Google it. If you haven't got a strategy, when I talk to people and they say, I say to them, what do you do about cybersecurity? And they answer to you, oh, we have this firewall, we have this intrusion prevention. I understand that there's no strategy behind, because security is not anymore IT equipment. If you don't implement and train your employees and train your staff, I can talk endlessly about the fake invoices we receive and the cases which you can laugh how clever or how, let's say, clumsy sometimes is happening. If you haven't done your exercise, if you have an audit, I mean, is there anyone that dares not to have let's say, exercise where they ask a company to do a control environment, attack to them and get the results? So if you haven't reviewed and if you don't make all this preparation, then you don't stand a chance. It's just about an accident waiting to happen. So if you do have an incident and you don't have a crisis management, nobody knows to whom to talk, what to do, then it will fall apart. There's a rules of thirds. If an incident occurs, if you're a superhero, Spider-Man, Captain America, you name it, IT department, 3 hours, you need to restore everything back. That's the perfect team. The acceptable longest time, it's 3 days. 3 hours, 3 days, and eventually, the statistics say that if you don't make it in 3 hours, if you don't make it in 3 days, then the most probable is 3 months or never. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.